This study would be looking at body dysmorphia and if it had a correlation on developing an eating disorder as a result of being diagnosed with body dysmorphia. Defining BDD, AN, BN, and OSFED. Body dysmorphic disorder is a strong obsession with one or more perceived defects or flaws in a physical appearance that are not visible or minor to others. Anorexia nervosa is an intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, a disturbance in the way in which one's body weight or shape is experienced, undue influence of body weight or shape on self-evaluation, or persistent lack of recognition in the seriousness of current or low body weight, according to the DSM-5. Bulimia nervosa is a self-evaluation unduly influenced by body shape and weight, and recurrent inappropriate compensatory behaviors to prevent weight gain. OSFED, otherwise known as other specified feeding or eating disorder, are the same as the above but do not meet the full criteria of the other eating disorder. For example, one could have atypical anorexia nervosa, where the criteria is all met other than the individual being within or above the normal weight range. The question for this study is, does body dysmorphic disorder have an effect on one's likelihood of having or developing an eating disorder? My hypothesis for this question is that yes, a person with having body dysmorphia increases their likelihood of developing or having an eating disorder. This study is important because the media that we consume on a daily basis can also be a contributing factor as to why and how people are developing body dysmorphic disorder and or eating disorders. According to the media, the ideal body type for a woman is tall, thin, and tan, but not too dark. Long hair, smooth skin, an hourglass figure, etc. The ideal body for a man is tall, muscular, and etc. All of these are damaging especially to young people who often feel that they need to fit into these unrealistic and unhealthy standards in order to be accepted in society. One of the most prominent issues these standards have brought up is how young adults view their body shape and weight, and oftentimes they feel they are skinnier than they are or bigger than they are. This is because they could have a huge impact on personal lives. Many people will turn to unhealthy ways of trying to become perfect, many of which can be very harmful to them. The practical implications of my proposed study is to gain more insight on both body dysmorphic disorder and eating disorders, as well to try to determine the two and if they are correlated. The theoretical implications of this study is that it allows for potential therapeutic use, meaning that in a therapy session, an individual is possible knowing the information for a better way to treat and recommend coping skills to the patient. My methods for this study would be: first, my participants. The expected demographic of my participants are both male and females between the ages of 18 and 50. The plan is to interview and test an equal amount of each gender, a minimum of 25 and 25 of each. The selection criteria is that participants would have to have the body dysmorphic disorder, as that is the main focus of the study, looking at body dysmorphic disorder with eating disorders. The hope is to have the participants be volunteers. I would gain them by putting up advertisements in clinics and therapy offices, as it seems to make the most sense to reach the target audience. I would try to put up as many as I could. I would also put them in college health offices to make sure that everyone who wanted to participate had an equal chance to do so. All participants would remain anonymous and treated fairly and equally. For this study, I would use an interview to conduct the majority of my studies. I would also use a simple supplementary questionnaire with questions that could be ranked, such as, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel body dysmorphia has an impact on your life? But other than that, the interview would be the main way of collecting information for the study. I would start my interview process by letting the participants know that they will be kept anonymous and what the study is and hope to find. Making sure that they consent to be part of the study, explaining that it is completely voluntary and that they can leave the study at any time with no repercussions. Explaining to them that the study is to find a correlation between having body dysmorphic disorder and having an eating disorder as a result of it. This interview would be talking to them about their experience in their day-to-day life, with their body dysmorphia and how long they've struggled with BDD. After hearing their experiences and what they've needed to say, I would shift the conversation to asking them about eating disorders. And if they have one, if they believe their body dysmorphia is related to having one. And if they think the length of time they've been diagnosed with body dysmorphia has exposed them to being more likely to having an eating disorder. My predicted results for the study is that yes, there is a correlation between having body dysmorphia disorder and the trend of eating disorders. I don't believe that it'll be an exponentially significant correlation, but I do think it'll be significant enough to acknowledge the fact that there are connections between the two of them. My variables would be, from an independent variable, would be what their body dysmorphia focuses on. This would be qualitative as it is a descriptive data and it involves how one perceives themselves and cannot be numerically measured. My first dependent variable would be if they have an eating disorder or not as a result of body dysmorphia. This variable would be quantitative because it would be a yes or no answer that can be counted and doesn't rely on descriptive data. The second dependent variable would be the length of time they've had body dysmorphia. Again, this is quantitative because the length of time can be measured, for example, 1 year or 10 years. So to take the time that they were diagnosed to see if the time has an effect on developing an eating disorder or eating disorder habits, essentially seeing if the longer one is diagnosed with body dysmorphia would allow that maladaptive habits or checking behaviors to manifest into an eating disorder. These are my references. Thank you for listening.